Alright guys, so this is going to be Coding with Kyle session over how to create your Replit project and start working on your own personal project. So I decided to not do React because it's going to be harder for you guys to start it, and it'll be easier for you guys to be able to do this on your own without using React because you guys have been doing the Codecademy HTML classes. So we're going to focus on the HTML aspect of the project in order to make our projects. So to do that, we're going to go to Repel. If you have not already created a project, you're going to want to create a project. You're going to select HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and you're going to title it whatever your project is. So this is going to be the project that I'm going to be doing with you guys is going to be a gaming store project. If you can make it private, make it private. If it has to stay public, then do that. So you'll click Create Repel, and it will work its magic. Create the files on the left, our index.html in the center, and then our thing on the right. So what we're going to do is inside of the body tags below the script, we're going to go ahead, and this is where we're going to be writing in our code. So if you want an image, then you will need to use the image tag in order to make an image. If you want a heading, you will need to use the heading tag and add in a heading, right? So this is the stuff that we've been practicing with the Codecademy, is how to make the HTML. So go ahead and do this for your guys' projects. And let's talk about how to kind of work on making, to make specific components. We're just all going to do it in this folder. So if I'm trying to create like an icon that's clickable, the first thing I'm going to need to do is wrap it all in a div, right? A div is how we divide a content piece from the rest of our pieces, and we kind of wrap it up in a box, right? So we're going to make this div, and inside the div I want an image. An image needs to have a source location where the image is, and it needs to have alt text that's displayed otherwise. Then below that image, I want to have kind of my title, which I'm going to try heading 4 for that, and we're going to see what heading 4 looks like. And this is going to be my title. And for an image, I'm just going to get some kind of stock photo. So let's see, picture of a penguin juggling. That's oh, cool. I didn't even spell juggling right. Oh, this guy's cool. All right, we're gonna do this guy. So you're gonna want to save it to your. You're gonna want to save it to your iPad, and then in the Replit, we need to have the image in our files, okay? So everything that our project is using is accessing these files. So to add a new file, we need to click New File. Just kidding. That's to add a new file that we create. We need to upload the image. So we're going to click the 3 dots and click Upload File. And then we're going to go ahead and find the image in our library, in our photo library. This is a really long name, and I don't want to do it that long, so I'm going to hit the 3 dots, click Rename, and I'm going to call this My Penguin. So it says penguin.jpg. Oh, that did not hit enter. There we go. So now it's updated. So now this image here, in order for me to have the source, I just type in the name of it, penguin.jpg, and it starts filling it in for me already. The alternate text is going to be, this is like my my icon tile. Icon tile art. I don't know, something like that. We can just call it penguin. Whatever we want to call it there. And then we have our title. So let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. All right, there's my penguin. And then I have this title here. That's 4. So now the thing is that this image is very huge and we want it on our site to be a lot smaller and we want it to be clickable. So for that, we need to open up style CSS. So index.html, this is all about our elements, the physical things. And then whenever we want to change how they are, we're going to add styles. So to do that, I create a new class. So I say dot, and I'm going to call this my icon styles. I need to have the curly brackets, and now I can have this in here. So I'm going to change the height to be maybe 200 pixels and the width to be 200 pixels. Let's go ahead and start there. So this is my styling class. I need to remember exactly what it's called. Go to index.html, and my whole div is going to be inside of this. We're creating our box here. So I'm going to say class equals icon styles. So now, let's see. Let me just double check that it's getting applied. Let me pop this out. New tab. So our icon styles looks like the height and width is getting applied. It's there. So we're doing that fine, but our picture is still expanding outside of the box. And in order to get it to be within the box, we need to restrain it. Okay, so whenever we're styling the icon image, we want to basically have the same width. We want the max width to be 200 pixels to match our icon styles. That's the box that we're creating around this. But our height needs to be a little bit smaller in order to allow us to have some space for our text. Also, we want to change this to be max height and max width. We don't want it to go above this. But it can always be a little bit shorter if it needs to. So that's going to do the icon image. And then we're also going to add in another property called object fit. And what this is going to do is it's going to fit the image into that 200 pixel space. Let's do it without it first and see what happens. So I've created this icon image. So now I need to put class equals icon image onto my image. Now if I run this, my guy's a lot smaller. Now if I open this up in a new tab and inspect it, I'm going to see a couple of things. So here's this whole box, and my title seems to be not have enough space for it, so we'll need to fix that. But this whole box, the image doesn't go all the way to the width because the height is what stops it first. And so our box is bigger than the image. And so in order to fix this, we can play around with a couple of things. So first, we're going to change our max height to 150, so that way we have enough space for our text. And our text is also it's got a lot of margin. It's only 18 pixels, so the problem is the margin that it has. So we don't actually need to change this. This can be 180. We need our text. Let's do the text first. So we'll do the icon text, or icon title, and the margin needs to be 0 for all of it. So if we put on our H4, class equals icon title, that's going to apply those styles. When we run it, it now got rid of that white space and is now attached to our image. And if we inspect, we should see our box wrapping around. Now our icon styles box wraps completely around our text, and the text is not outside of it anymore. So that's good. Let's go back to styles. Let's make this let's make it a little smaller just so we make sure that there's enough room. So I'll make it 170 pixels. That's for sure will give our title enough room. And now we want to fix this problem of the image not going all the way to our title. So let's kind of see where it's going. So let's, in icon styles, let's add border, and it's going to be 1 pixel, and let's just make it black. That's going to help give us this box shape. I need to specify the border property correctly, apparently. Border is going to be 1 pixel, 1 pixel, 1 pixel. Oh yeah. And then border color, we'll make that black. All right, so let's go ahead and delete that. We are doing the border. I was missing one thing. We need to have 1 pixel. We need to type in the word solid and then black. So we was creating a border that was invisible. And so now we have this border around our box. This is our icon, and we notice that the image is not filling it, which we want it to do. So what we're going to do in order to fill this image is we're going to do this object fit, and we're going to look at a couple of different options that we have. So we could do fill, which means that it's going to fill the container. So it made the width go, or the height go all the way down, which stretches it a little bit. But that's not exactly the best thing because we also want it to go wide. So there's an option for contain, which also just makes it contain with the height. So that's not particularly great. We can try cover, which should have the image fixed and there. So we actually need to scale the image up. Oh, so our max height is 170. Oh, okay. So what if we take out this? Okay, so that's interesting. So we take out the max width and height. Okay, so let's look at fill again. So we have fill, which will basically fill these dimensions and stretch the image. We have contain, which will keep the aspect ratio of our image and it centers it, but we still have some of this white space gap. So maybe that's a good option for us though. Or we have this cover, which will zoom in the image so that way it fills the whole space, which is maybe a little bit better for our preview because we want the image to kind of fill the whole space. And then we want it to separate the title below. So we're going to do border bottom, 1 pixel, solid black. And now we have this bottom border from our image separating the title. So that's kind of how we can create this thing here. When it comes to images, we always have to resize an image to the space that we have available to work with. So whenever we do that, whenever we're creating our own images, sometimes we might want to resize it ahead of time instead of just pulling a random image off the internet. We can use some custom image software to resize it ahead of time to make it look better. So if you care about your images and want them to look better, then that's something to ask about in class on another day. So this is the kind of the thing that we're going to be repeating for all of our stuff we want to have. We want to make one element at a time, but then if we're going to work on, like, maybe our page needs some type of heading or title, we want to go ahead and put that in here, right? So our H1 title for my page. Now it has that. I want to basically just make all of my website in here. And we do that by focusing on one part. This is our feature that we created, our user story. Okay, so we focus on what our user story is. We create the HTML elements to put it there. Then we create the styles in order to shape the elements. We take the names of the styles that we're creating and we link them to the correct things. And that's how we get this. And then once we're done with that, we're done with this feature and we're good to go. So now we move on to the next feature or the next user story that we created and we start entering that in here. Okay. And that's how you get started working on your stuff. Thanks for watching this code with me, and I will see you guys in class.